Why don't any guy marry you? Well, actually, there are many guys who wants to marry me. There's a guy who's a CEO, a doctor, a pilot, guy with professions. But the question is, do I want to marry them? The answer is no. No, because I'm not a materialistic woman and I am not into men who have titles. And it doesn't matter what your status is. I'm just a very, very picky person. That being said, I'm a very, very particular woman. And I don't care if you call yourself rich, you have a lot of money, you have a lot of properties. The thing that I care the most is if you are intelligent. Because what is money if I cannot have a conversation with you? And to make the story short, I am destined not to get married. Okay, so now you know. Mwah. Black men entering chat about being the best lovers. You tell me. Black men and Filipino men are the same. They're both good lovers. And I'm not saying that this applies to all black men or to all Filipinos because obviously that's not true. Except that Filipino men and black men have the same mentality. If they will cheat, you cannot stop them from cheating. They will even steal your woman even if they know you're married or in a relationship. And one time I was walking on the street and this black man with this beautiful queen keeps staring at me. And I just did this to him. And the other version of Filipino men and black men are Mexicans. They are all related. Now, I'm not saying that all men are the same. Obviously, it's not. I'm just pointing out the reality because it exists. However, there are still good men out there, whether you're Mexican, Filipino, Caucasian, or black men. The only thing is they are rare to find.
Can you answer my question? Why do they not want to marry a Filipino man? You mean the Filipina? I would say, and this is my opinion, okay? Filipino man, I think, is one of the best lover out there of all men. However, marrying a Filipino man, it's like gambling. And back in the day, Filipino men used to provide, respect, faithful, loyal to their partners. But now it's different. Marrying a Filipino man, it's like marrying a monkey. Because the moment that you marry a Filipino man and the moment that they have a lot of responsibilities, they become depressed, they become anxious, and they become overwhelmed. But now, unfortunately, Filipino men are well known that they cheat, they become irresponsible. And when they become irresponsible, they become a monkey. They jump from branches to branches even though they have wife. And I'm not saying that Filipina will not cheat. Some of the Filipina will cheat too. And it's the same thing with foreigners. The moment they become depressed and lonely, they go to Asia and become a monkey. No disrespect intended. How have you concluded Filipino men are one of the best lovers? I say this with respect. I don't believe you were intimate with many different cultures of men. Yes, Filipino men are one of the best lovers in the world. I'm not saying this because I'm a Filipina. I'm saying this from based on my opinion, my experience, and observation. Filipino men are so good at talking to women, especially Filipina, and hence why there's a lot of single moms in the Philippines. They know how to get through a woman, especially a Filipina, not through their pants, but through their stomach. Filipina are looking for a provider, someone who can respect them and protect them. As part of our culture, Filipino men are always looking for a housewife type woman, and that is why Filipina are perfect for that. You see what I mean? Filipino men are so good at this, only in the beginning. Unfortunately, or eventually, they change. How are they the best lover? Explain. You mean the Filipino man? Well, Filipino men, they give a lot of attention. They will show that they care about you. But then again, only in the beginning. And I'm not saying that all Filipino men are the same because I know there are many Filipinos out there who are good still exist. So when a Filipino man is dating a Filipina, they'll be like, Mahal, did you already eat? And for us Filipina, it makes us feel like, oh my God, he really cares about me. And most of the time they'll be like, make sure you eat, okay, because I don't want my baby to feel hungry. That feels so good for us Filipina. And it makes us feel like, aw, my Filipino lover really cares about us. Even if a Filipino man will take us for street food, even if they spend 50 pesos, as long as they feed us, for us Filipina, it makes us feel so, oh my God, I feel so in love with this Filipino man. Because sometimes, or most of the time, Western men don't do this. I know because I dated one. At first, I was so concerned why Western men don't do this. But then eventually, I realized it's just part of their culture and it's part of like how they're dating with anybody or any woman. And when a Filipino man cares about if we have eaten or not, for us, it shows that they can actually provide for us and making sure that we don't go hungry. Because for us, food is very important. And food is our love language. And that's the reason why when you marry a Filipina, you're more likely not get hungry. We will make sure we will feed you because we care about you. And that's why for us as a Filipina, it's so easy for us to fall in love with anybody, especially Filipino men. Because Filipino men, they know how to get to our heart through our stomach. Unlike when we date a foreigner, we Filipinas, we're the one that makes sure that, hey, baby, did you eat already? Because I want to make sure you've eaten. Now, do you see why Filipino men are best lover? How can you say holy cow when cow is sacred to Indians from India? Well, the thing is, I'm not Indian. I'm a Filipina. In the Philippines, Filipinos do not say holy cow. And depending on where they're from, they will say Jesus Christ or Diyos ko po if they're Tagalog. But if they're Bisaya, they will say Diyos mio or Ginoo ko. Or they will say Joseph, Mary, and Magdalene. Okay, so now you know. And in the Philippines, they don't worship cow. They eat the cow because cow is delicious. Okay? Not true at all. What, that Filipinos are good lovers? Well, I did not say that all Filipinos are good lovers. But let's accept the fact that Filipinos are good lovers. Period. So a lot of foreigners, especially from my Facebook page, were so offended that I mentioned Filipino men are good lovers, which is true. Obviously, Filipino men are aware of our culture and tradition. So these Filipino men know how to make Filipina fall in love with them through their stomach. And most of the time or sometimes Filipino men often spoil their Filipina women. Obviously, not all Filipino do this, but a lot of Filipino often spoil their women. But I'm not here to say, oh, you should marry a Filipino man because they're loyal, they're faithful, they're honest, blah, 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 blah. And I keep telling you guys, Filipino men are good lovers only in the beginning. And if you were to ask me, would you date a Filipino man? My answer is no. However, in my general opinion, I would prefer to marry a Filipino man or be with a Filipino man. Because Filipino men already know how to spoil their woman, how to love their woman. But the thing is, I chose not to be with a Filipino man because I don't trust Filipino men in the long run. And I know that there are still good Filipino men out there who you can trust, who's faithful and honest. But the thing is, they are very rare to find. So no, I don't want to be with a Filipino man because I have no assurance of them staying faithful or loyal to me. And that's the reason why a lot of Filipina are allergic to marry or remarry or be with a Filipino man again because Filipino men often hurt Filipina's heart. We Filipina often fall in love hard and we often fall in love easily. But at the same time, we also get hurt easily. But when we get hurt, we would rather stay away from that pain who hurt us or wounded us. And that's the reason why a lot of Filipina, when they get hurt by a Filipino man, they don't want to go back to a Filipino man. They would rather be with a foreigner man. Even though there's many good qualities when it comes to being with a Filipino man. So don't get upset, foreigners, when I tell you the truth because I don't lie. I say what I have to say in mind.